More than 800 people with one mission, promoting a healthy environment. We are the West Virginia Department of Environmental Protection.
We continue now with our conversation with Cabinet Secretary Randy Huffman.
The Above Ground Storage Tank Act was signed into law this past June. Here's the Secretary's take on its lasting impact.
I think the most significant part of it is going to be that thing that you can never measure, and that is how many disasters such as this moving forward will be prevented as a result. I mean, we already know that many tanks out there have been inspected and found to be in default or found to be substandard for some reason. So that's information that we would have never had prior to the tank bill and prior to the spill. So we are identifying other tanks out there that have problems associated with them. And like I said, measuring crises that have been averted or avoided is not something you can do. But I think it's real nonetheless, and so I think that's the biggest thing that will happen.
The Above Ground Storage Tank Act gives the DEP something it didn't have last January: the authority to register and inspect tanks at facilities like the ill-fated Freedom Industries.
The DEP, and as with all regulatory agencies at the local, state, federal level, derives its authority from the law, from laws and rules passed by legislative bodies and signed by chief executives. And so because it might be intuitive that we should be doing something doesn't mean that we have that authority. Now we do. We have that authority. That will be our focus. I mean, that's what we do.
But the new law doesn't completely eliminate all risks. Protecting our water supplies will still take vigilance.
Know what you got upstream from a water intake. Doesn't necessarily have to be a tank. You know, it can be any number of risks upstream from a water intake. And then you have the notion of how far upstream does it matter? And it obviously, the closer you are, the more it matters. The further away you get, the less the risk. Maybe the less emphasis that it has. We all live upstream. We all live downstream. I mean, you are both, no matter where you are. Almost all of our environmental rules have been developed over the past 40, 50 years. It's come on the heels of necessity, and this is really no different. We will develop a program for regulating above ground storage tanks, and we will do it very well. That doesn't mean that we'll be able to predict the next environmental need that's out there. There is one. I'm sure there's one. There always has been. There always will be one. Predicting what that might be is a little bit tough, but we'll take what we have now, and our folks here in this agency will do a very good job with it.
Secretary Huffman says he's absolutely certain that the drinking water in the areas affected by the spill is safe, and that he's disappointed that some people are still afraid to use tap water. Greg, he says West Virginia has some of the best water quality around.
Thanks, Sarah. The DEP is still receiving certifications for more than 50,000 registered above-ground storage tanks. The deadline for tank owners to submit that information to the DEP was January 1st. Just ahead, the presents are unwrapped and the decorations back in their boxes. But these used Christmas trees have a new job, and it's something fishy.
Plus, nearly $2 million are headed to 30 West Virginia communities to help fund recycling programs. We'll meet some of the winners when Environment Matters continues.